Hi, I'm personal trainer YUJI.
I want to discuss how middle-aged individuals can manage their waist. When we talk about middle age, it can be a bit unclear where to draw the line, whether it's in the 40s, 50s, or even looking at those in their 60s and 70s. For simplicity, I will refer to all of these as middle age. As someone who is in middle age, I hope you can forgive me for that. Now, when it comes to managing the waist in middle age, there are various aspects to consider, not just one. Today, I want to highlight several points. When we think about managing the waist, the first thing that comes to mind for most people is body fat. Of course, if you reduce body fat, your waist will become slimmer. This is definitely achievable, but to lose body fat, both diet and exercise are crucial. Among the exercises, focusing on leg workouts is particularly important. It is important to do this frequently. Of course, it is necessary to reduce body fat, but I feel that many people only think about body fat when they want to slim their waist, which is still a problem. Even if you manage to lose body fat, it doesn't necessarily lead to a good appearance. You might lose weight, but still feel like your body isn't toned. There are various factors involved, so today I've summarized them, starting with the first one. It's natural to want to lose weight. Now the next point is about tightening. To put it more elaborately, it means to always maintain a consciousness of muscle contraction. Even if you manage to reduce body fat, if the abdominal muscles are in a relaxed state, it can create a bulging appearance. So even if there isn't much body fat, the waist can still appear thick. That would be a waste. Even if you have lost body fat, if your abdomen appears thick, you want to change that. To achieve this, it is better to keep the abdominal muscles contracted rather than relaxed, as this will naturally make you look slimmer. If you consistently tighten your muscles, you will indeed become slimmer. However, if your abdominal muscles are always in a relaxed state, it will make you look thicker. Therefore, the first step is to focus on recovery exercises such as crunches. However, while doing leg raises, it is essential to tighten the muscles firmly. First, you need to create a strong contraction. So, when performing the exercise, focus on contracting properly. Ultimately, this means lifting the hips and raising the back. Instead of using the neck, bend the torso. When you are contracting firmly, whether you are coming from this side or doing leg raises, make sure to lift the hips and the back, raising both. Start by creating a strong contraction in the abdominal muscles. Otherwise, for those who cannot do that, this state tends to occur suddenly when standing or after leaving. Therefore, the first step is to ensure that you can contract properly, and one way to do this is through recovery methods. Another important aspect is to always maintain a consciousness of muscle contraction. For example, even when doing a crouch, it's not just about exhaling and squeezing vertically. It's also about reducing the cylinder size and tightening it firmly. While slimming down, the upper body is being stretched out significantly. Even after reducing the diameter, it is important to maintain a tight and slim shape. This kind of recovery is necessary. The leg raise exercise is similar. When lifting the back and buttocks, it is not enough to just shorten vertically. Instead, it is essential to maintain a state where the tube is kept small. Although it is being pulled while being tightly held down, it is crucial to keep it from floating up by firmly pressing it down. The idea is to continue this practice. By doing so, whether sitting or standing, you can always maintain a consciousness of muscle contraction. If you just do abdominal exercises randomly, you might end up with ineffective abs when you try to tighten them while standing. Therefore, even during the process of returning to form, I want you to maintain this awareness. In everyday situations, like waiting for a train or a bus, it's important to keep that slight contraction. Keep doing this. When you stand there without any knowledge during such times, the stretched state of the abdominal muscles can become the normal state. The muscles stretch and contract, and this fully stretched state can become the usual condition. If you live like that, you will always be in that stretched state. By creating a state where the muscles are about half contracted, if this is the normal state, then honestly, just that alone can affect the waist. A difference of 3 centimeters is significant. To return to a normal state, you should practice the methods I mentioned earlier and create a situation where you are always slightly contracted. This becomes a habit. For me, I have always had this awareness, so without even thinking about it, I maintain a slightly tightened state. Even when standing, I continue to keep my posture tight and slightly lifted. This has become normal for me, and being in this state means I am always slimmer. I want you to reach this point as well. This is a brief overview. It doesn't happen immediately. I think it takes a certain amount of time, whether it's 1 year, 2 years, or 5 years, but I hope you can acquire this skill over the long course of your life. And the third point, which I just mentioned, is that keeping everything tightened is not just a matter of the abdomen. It's important to not only focus on the abdomen, but also to include the waist in the tightening and lifting process. Furthermore, this tightening and lifting is not just limited to this area. You need to push from the soles of your feet against the ground, and that force travels upward. You start to lift a little, and as this lifts, your head is pulled straight up, creating a feeling of being lifted directly above. Therefore, it is necessary to maintain this posture. From tomorrow, adopt a posture that pulls the top of your head up while also lifting in this intermediate position. Use the muscles of your waist, back, and legs, coordinating them to create a feeling of extension throughout your entire body. This is the shape you should always strive to create. Is this the state you want to achieve, or is it this other state? In this state, there are various factors to consider, but honestly, the impression from others in this condition, or that condition, can make one appear larger. Even if I have the same body fat, I look thicker. My stomach appears larger. If I constantly tighten and lift my abdomen, engaging my entire body to stretch out firmly, I will look the slimmest. I really want this to become a habit. Furthermore, it is also necessary to strengthen this. This could involve squats with weights placed here or during the squats themselves. As you continue to lift, your strength gradually decreases. Here, lifting 50 or 60 kilograms is quite heavy. When using that strength for Bulgarian squats, if you hold a dumbbell and it feels too heavy, you might end up escaping from the lift or losing your form. However, by maintaining the lift while doing these exercises, you develop the strength to hold it. By using your full strength in this way, it becomes less painful to keep your body aligned. For those who lack the strength to extend during squats or Bulgarian squats, it can be challenging. When you turn off and maintain this forward-leaning position and then lower this mutual 6 units, it can feel so tight that it seems impossible to continue at all. However, if you properly increase your maximum strength through exercises like Bulgarian split squats or squats, you won't find yourself stuck in this position. You're only using 1 or 2 out of 10 levels of strength. Well, this means that you can maintain this posture even in everyday situations. Lastly, the fourth point is not to loosen the bones. Bones are supposed to be rigid, right? Well, that's true. To be precise, it means not loosening the space between the bones. For example, in the back, there is the spine. The spine runs along the back, and each segment of it is actually capable of moving quite flexibly. Ideally, this should be the case, but if the posture is poor and the spine is misaligned, each segment ends up in a stiffened state. If this misalignment persists over a long period, it maintains that shape. As we change, when we try to stretch like this, it becomes really tight, and there is no flexibility at all. The space between the bones lacks flexibility, making it difficult to arch and stretch backward. This is quite common as we age. The soft tissues between the bones tend to harden. This is also true around the ribs. The waist involves not only muscles, but also the ribs. Here, at the joint of the ribs, the joints around here should ideally be soft and able to move freely, but the spaces between the bones tend to become quite stiff. For those who have stiffness in these areas, when they try to twist or engage their core, they might end up feeling a sharp pain. For example, when doing twisting movements in a prone position, they may feel a jolt and let out a sound of discomfort, indicating that the muscles or the spaces between the bones are tight and causing distress. You receive things, right? And when that happens, it becomes difficult to tighten up again. Well, within that flexibility, it's similar to the muscles we talked about earlier. It's better to keep the tightened position correct. To achieve that, continuing with the earlier mentioned recovery of the tightened state and maintaining a vertical posture will help. The muscles can move around in various ways, right? So, regarding the spine, it's not that you're living in this state. Rather, if you live like this, it becomes the most normal state. However, if you live in this state 24/7, it becomes normal and you can no longer revert to the other state. It's similar to this. The soft tissue between the ribs should always maintain a slight state of tension, like a gentle return to a normal state. If you keep that, it becomes normal, but if your posture is like this, For example, when doing desk work, if you slouch, it becomes loose, and when you stand, it tends to protrude forward. When pressure is exerted forward, it creates an open state. The shape of this state can become normal for oneself, so to avoid that, I mentioned the second and third points. By consistently practicing tightening and returning to a contracted state, it is necessary to keep the bones in the correct position. Of course, while there is flexibility, it is important not only to address body fat issues, but also to continuously maintain this contraction. This ongoing tightening is essential for all the muscles in the body and for the bones. It has an impact on how one appears. Well, by doing so, you can create an even slimmer look. At this stage, the impression can be quite different, so it's important to pay attention to these details. In middle age, the body tends to become more relaxed and take on a fixed shape, so I hope you will be mindful of this while training and living your life. Let's work on creating a waist that looks even slimmer. Yes, let's do our best. Please subscribe to the channel as well. I'm also on Instagram, so please follow me. Personal trainer, YUJI.